Tanks in Battlefield are incredibly destructive when used the right way. Therefore, you should know exactly how to deal with them in the best way possible so you don't get completely flattened by some trash-talking 12-year-old. Hi, my name is Fallout, and today we're going to be going over the best ways to stop an enemy tank in Battlefield. Starting with the it'll work, but I wouldn't recommend it tier, we have the EOD bot. Basically, you deploy a little Wally wannabe that you control with an iPad, and you can have him drop landmines on the battlefield for you. And while those mines do respectable damage, they actually hit harder than some of the rockets we're going to cover today. The problem with the EOD bot is that the other landmine options are, in my opinion, just stupidly better than what we can accomplish with the EOD bot. And yeah, the EOD bot can also repair vehicles, but I mean, you can too. If you're playing on an engineer, you got the repair tool. And granted, the EOD bot can go out in the field on your behalf and allow you to do all that stuff remotely, but I don't know, man. I'd rather just get out there and do it myself. Moving on, we now come to the it'll work, but there are still better options tier. In that category, we have a few options, including the MBT Law, the SLM93A, the MAS148, and the PTKM1R acoustic mine. Starting with the MBT Law, which is the first launcher you get as the engineer. The weapon performs in a unique way. When you aim at a target and fire, it guides itself to the vehicle, then goes up and performs a top-down attack. Because it works that way, it unfortunately means you can't choose what part of the tank your missile is actually hitting, which, by the way, kinda important because tanks actually have natural weak points that take more damage if you target them specifically. And don't worry, we will cover all that in just a minute. But in my testing, the MBT Law did about 294 damage to the main battle tank regardless of the angle that the missile approached. The MAS148 launcher is kind of a harder hitting version of the MBT Law. First, it locks onto the target, then connects with a rocket that hits hard from the top down. Again, because it is a lock-on launcher, you can't really choose where on the tank you're gonna hit. The good news though is that the MAS hits noticeably harder than the Law. It connected with the tank for 350 damage. Definitely not bad, but we can still do better. Oh, and by the way, I know we're talking about killing tanks, but if you were curious, if an enemy is driving a light transport vehicle, aka a Jeep, then the MAS148 hits hard enough that it'll flat out one-shot kill the driver, which is awesome. By comparison, the MBT Law didn't quite hit hard enough to nuke the driver out of a light transport vehicle. The SLM93A, aka the Air Defense Launcher, is kind of weird to have on the list because its primary job is to F up flying aircraft. But if a tank happens to be painted by your friendly neighborhood recon player, then you can actually lock onto it and hit the tank with the SLM. The amount of damage you do depends on where the rocket actually connects with the tank, because again, tanks have natural weak points. We are almost ready to talk about that, I promise you, but not quite yet. The SLM can hit a tank a little bit harder if you hit the right spot, but again, you're kind of at the mercy of the RNG of the lock-on effect itself. You can't really aim it too well. I'd really only recommend using the SLM on a tank if you absolutely have to, or basically if you have a clear shot at a tank's backside. Damaging the tank from the front does pretty piss-poor damage, and besides, that launcher is way better at ruining some annoying jet or helicopter pilot's day. The PTKM1R, aka the acoustic sensor mine, is actually a pretty fun little toy. You put it on the ground, and then when an enemy vehicle drives into the mine's overall range, which is actually very generous, it will shoot a rocket up into the air, which will then perform a top-down attack on the vehicle. The acoustic mine hits pretty damn hard, 476 damage in one shot, but unfortunately, you only spawn with just one. If you manage to put two down on the ground, kinda near each other, you can really hit a tank very hard, but again, that would require you dying and respawning to accomplish, which is kind of annoying. I feel like the big upside of the acoustic mine is that it's basically guaranteed tank damage. As long as the tank comes anywhere near the damn thing, it's gonna get smacked. But again, I still think I'd rather use something else because we can legit do better. Random side note, did you know that the spinning radar dish on the back of the anti-aircraft tank actually confuses the acoustic mine and has an automatic protection from it? It's true. We found out that if the guns on the anti-aircraft tank are pointed up in the air, it can get damaged by an acoustic mine. But if it's just driving along with its guns pointing straight forward, that spinning radar dish on the back of the tank completely borks up the mine. Also, the light transport vehicle, aka the Jeep, also doesn't take damage from the acoustic mine for whatever reason. All right, finally, we move on to the your best options tier. starting with the M136AT launcher, aka the AIM guided launcher. If you don't have it unlocked yet, the AIM guided launcher allows you to guide a rocket manually. It'll basically follow wherever you point your crosshair until it connects with a target. And on that note, we can finally talk about tank weak points. Basically, depending on where you hit the tank, it'll determine how much damage your rocket does. Take a look at the following damage numbers to get a better idea. By the way, quick note, the damage numbers in this private lobby may slightly vary to actual in-game numbers for some reason, but regardless, the weak points on every tank should remain the same no matter what. The short version is, if you can, you want to hit the tank either on the side or especially in the very back on the lower portion of the tank for very big damage. Now, I understand that a tank isn't going to just let you run all the way around it and let you shoot it right in its thick old cheeks, but it's something to keep in mind anyway. If you happen to be in a situation like this, basically a moment from a match I played where I can see two sides of a tank, both the front and the side, you want to aim at whatever side is going to take more damage overall. Next up, we have the RPG-7V2, aka the unguided rocket launcher, which IMO wins the award for best ranged option for tank killing. This is the same deal as the AIM guided launcher, but it's slightly better at killing tanks, specifically for two reasons. One, the rocket travels much faster, and two, the RPG, for whatever reason, does a little bit more damage to tanks than the AIM guided launcher, but only when hitting the tank in the side, which is interesting. Still though, the TLDR remains. You want to shoot the tank in either the side or especially the lower back if you can. Next, we have the M4A1 SLAM, aka the Tripwire Sensor AV mine. This functions a lot like another mine option we'll cover shortly, but the main difference is the SLAM mine can be placed on the ground, but also on walls, which I guess is kind of nice for catching a tank driver by surprise. The SLAM mine does 436 damage in one hit, and if you manage to hit a vehicle with 2 mine charges and it lives, it will temporarily prevent the tank from being drivable for a few seconds. Now, I like the SLAM mine, but in my opinion, it does not compare with the award winner for best set it and forget it method, which is the AV mine, aka the anti-vehicle mine. Even though the AV mine can only be placed on the ground, it hits so much harder than the M4A1 SLAM. One mine does a whopping 770 damage, and the tank will also get shut down and become undrivable for a few moments. 2 mines is guaranteed death for any vehicle in the game, even the main battle tank, and I really love that because nothing is more annoying than damaging a vehicle only for an engineer to quickly run over and repair it back to full health in the blink of an eye. A well-placed AV mine bundle means you can just straight up one-shot any tank with no chance at the engineer repairing it, which is great. By the way, big tip for doing that. Normally, when putting down mines, the game won't allow you to place a second mine too close to the first. You have to space them out. However, if you begin the mine drop animation, then quickly spin the other way very fast, you can basically put 2 mines down on top of each other. Perfect for laying a one-shot trap for an unsuspecting tank. And of course, even though it's on the Recon class, I gotta give an award for funniest way to kill a tank, and that is with C4. It's really risky because you gotta get right up next to the tank, but throwing C4 directly onto a tank and then detonating it will do good damage. Do it with 3 charges and you can flat out kill a main battle tank. Also, and this is probably even more risky, but you can throw C4 onto a fast-moving vehicle, then drive it at a tank, get off at the last second, and detonate the charge to get a kill. Now that's what I call creative. Hit the like button if you think I've earned it, then get the hell out of here and be the best damn tank killer you can be. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.